The morning sun beat down on the pavement of the Central City Park, but the heat did nothing to melt the ice in Dominic Vance's heart. He walked with the predatory stride of a jungle cat, his bespoke Italian suit absorbing the light, his sunglasses hiding eyes that could freeze a boardroom into silence. Behind him, a team of 6 bodyguards in black marched in lockstep, their hands hovering near their earpieces. But Dominic wasn't looking at them. He was looking at the small, fragile figure running ahead of him. His 5-year-old daughter, Lily. She was the only soft thing in his diamond-hard life. Since his wife died 3 years ago in a mysterious car accident, Dominic had built a fortress around himself and his daughter. He was the king of the Vance Empire, the man who controlled half the city's shipping lines, but right now he was just a terrified father watching his daughter chase a butterfly. "Lily, not too far," Dominic called out, his voice deep and rough. "Stay where I can see you." "Okay, Daddy," Lily chirped, her voice like a silver bell. She was holding a melting ice cream cone, her white dress spotless, her smile brighter than the sun. But Dominic felt a prickle on the back of his neck. His instincts, honed by years of corporate warfare and surviving assassination attempts, were screaming. He stopped. He scanned the park. It was too quiet. The birds had stopped singing. The usual crowd of joggers and mothers with strollers seemed to have evaporated. "Secure the perimeter," Dominic barked into his collar mic. "Something is wrong. Get Lily back to the car. Now." The bodyguards moved instantly, but they were too slow. From the bushes near the fountain, 4 men emerged. They didn't look like muggers. They wore tactical gear masked by heavy trench coats despite the heat. They moved with military precision. In their hands, the sunlight glinted off cold steel, long, serrated combat knives. They weren't here to kidnap. They were here to kill. "Target acquired!" the leader hissed. "Eliminate the child. Break the father." "Lily!" Dominic roared, breaking into a sprint. But he was 50 yards away. The assassins were 10 yards away. The leader lunged. He was fast, too fast. He closed the distance to the little girl in a heartbeat. Lily turned, her eyes widening in confusion, the ice cream slipping from her hand. She didn't scream. She was frozen in terror as the blade arced down toward her small chest. Dominic's heart stopped. He wasn't going to make it. He was watching his world end in slow motion. He reached for his gun, but he knew the angle was wrong. He was going to watch his daughter die. The iron gates of the Vance estate groaned under the pressure of the wind, or perhaps under the weight of the threat standing on the other side. Dominic and Alara stood shoulder to shoulder, his hand hovering over his holster, her grip tightening on the wooden hoe. Standing before them was a woman clad entirely in white mourning silk. Her face was hidden behind a veil, but her presence was like a drop of ink in clear water, suffocating and spreading. Behind her stood a phalanx of silent soldiers, not human mercenaries, but sleek, robotic combat droids. The widow didn't rely on human error. "You killed my father." The widow's voice was synthesized, distorted through a voice modulator. "You sank him to the bottom of the ocean with a container of Italian sports cars. Expensive coffin." "He attacked my family," Dominic stated, his voice calm. "I sent the bill to his estate. Did you get it?" The widow laughed, a glitchy, mechanical sound. "I am not here for money, Mr. Vance. I am here for balance. You took a life. I take a life." She pointed a gloved finger at Alara. "Her life." "You'll have to get through me." Dominic stepped forward. "And me," a small voice chirped. Lily popped out from behind a statue of a lion holding a slingshot loaded with a hard green walnut. "Lily, go back inside," Alara shouted. "No, we are a team." Lily fired. The walnut pinged off the metal chest of a droid. The droid didn't flinch. "Cute," the widow said. "Kill them all." She raised her hand. The droid's eyes glowed red. They raised their arm cannons. "Run!" Alara screamed. She grabbed Dominic and Lily, diving behind the thick marble wall of the gate just as the air filled with laser fire. The stone exploded into dust. "Lasers!" Dominic coughed, wiping dust from his eyes. "Since when does the Mafia have lasers?" "Since she took over," Alara said, checking her hoe. The wood was splintered. "She's tech-obsessed. Grandpa warned me, she turns flesh into steel." "We can't fight robots with a hoe," Dominic said. He pulled out his phone. "I need my EMP generator." "It's in the bunker!" Alara yelled over the noise of the assault. "We are cut off." "Then we improvise." Dominic looked at the cornfield his garden had become. "Grandpa Jin installed the irrigation system, right?" "Yes." "Why?" "High pressure?" "Enough to cut skin." "Good." Dominic grinned. "Cover me." He sprinted toward the control box near the fountain. The droids tracked him instantly. Beams of red light seared the grass at his heels. Alara didn't hesitate. She rolled out into the open. She didn't have a gun. She grabbed a handful of gravel from the driveway. She threw it, not at the robots, but at the sensors on the gate. She hit the control panel with pinpoint accuracy. The heavy iron gates began to swing shut, slamming into the leading droids, crushing them with a screech of metal. It bought Dominic 3 seconds. He reached the irrigation controls. He cranked the pressure to maximum. He ripped the main hose free. Alara, get down. He aimed the hose at the phalanx of droids. A jet of water, pressurized to 3,000 psi, blasted out. It hit the droids with the force of a freight train. The water forced its way into their joints, their circuits. Sparks flew. Smoke billowed. Water and electricity! Dominic shouted. Bad combination! The droids twitched and short-circuited, collapsing into piles of scrap metal. But the widow didn't move. The water hit her, but she didn't short-circuit. She simply stood there, soaking wet, the white silk clinging to her body. She ripped off her veil. Alara gasped. Half of the widow's face was beautiful, human. The other half was metal. A cybernetic eye glowed green. A steel jaw replaced her bone. You think water stops me? The widow stepped over the fallen droids. She moved with terrifying speed, powered by hydraulics. I am the future. She drew a sword, not steel, laser-edged plasma. It hummed with a menacing purple light. She charged at Alara. Alara! Dominic dropped the hose and drew his gun. He fired. The bullets pinged off the widow's armored torso harmlessly. Alara had no weapon but the broken hoe handle. She backed up. The widow swung the plasma sword. It sliced through a stone pillar like it was butter. Grandpa taught you the old way, the widow taunted, slashing again. Alara barely dodged, a lock of her hair singing from the heat. The old way is dead. Steel beats flesh. Flesh has a soul, Alara panted, backing toward the cornfield. Steel is just cold. Soul doesn't stop plasma. The widow lunged for the kill. Alara tripped. She fell backward into the dirt. The widow stood over her, raising the sword. Goodbye, little flower. Thwack. A shovel hit the widow in the back of the head. It rang like a gong. The widow stumbled forward. Behind her stood Grandpa Jin. He looked ancient, tired, but furious. You talk too much, Jin grunted. The widow spun around, eyes blazing green. Old man, you should be dead. I am hard to kill, Jin said. He didn't have a weapon. He stood in a martial arts stance, empty-handed. Grandpa, run. She's a cyborg, Alara screamed. She is just a machine with daddy issues, Jin said calmly. Dominic, the magnet. Dominic looked around. Magnet? What magnet? Then he saw it. The massive industrial electromagnet crane they had used to move the sculptures during the renovation. It was parked near the garage. On it! Dominic sprinted for the crane. The widow attacked Jin. It was a blur of motion. Jin couldn't block the plasma sword, so he dodged. He moved like water, flowing around her rigid, mechanical strikes. He slapped her joints, targeting the weak points in her armor, but she was tireless. She landed a punch on Jin's chest. The old man flew backward, crashing into the chicken coop. He didn't get up. Grandpa! Alara screamed. Rage, pure and white-hot, flooded her veins. She grabbed the fallen hoe handle. It wasn't a sword, it was a stick. But in the hands of a master, anything is a weapon. She charged. She didn't attack the widow's armor. She attacked the ground. She swept the dirt into the widow's human eye. Oh! The widow flinched, her organic side blinded. Alara vaulted over her. She landed on the widow's back. She jammed the wooden stick into the exposed gears of the widow's neck joint. The gears ground against the wood. Sparks flew. The widow thrashed, trying to throw her off. Dominic! Now! Alara screamed, holding on for dear life as the cyborg spun around. The crane roared to life. The massive magnetic disc swung over them. Let go, Alara! Dominic shouted from the cab. No! Dominic screamed, a sound of pure agony. But then a blur of movement tore through the scene. It wasn't a bodyguard, it wasn't a cop, it was a girl. She looked like she had just stepped out of a village painting. She was wearing faded jeans with patches on the knees, a simple white t-shirt stained with soil, and a straw hat that had fallen back to reveal a messy braid of chestnut hair. She was carrying a heavy wicker basket filled with wild radishes and mountain herbs. She looked like a country bumpkin who had gotten lost in the big city, but she moved like a lightning bolt. Just as the assassin's knife was inches from Lily's heart, the girl threw her basket. The radishes exploded into the air like a cloud of confetti, distracting the killer for a millisecond. In that fraction of a second, the girl slid between the assassin and the child. She didn't have a weapon. She didn't have a shield. She raised her bare hand. Shing! The sound of metal hitting bone and flesh echoed in the silent park. Dominic skidded to a halt, his gun raised, his breath caught in his throat. He expected to see blood spraying. He expected to see the girl collapse, but she stood there, immovable, like a mountain. Her hand, her bare, calloused peasant hand, had caught the blade. She gripped the serrated edge tightly, stopping the knife midair. Blood trickled down her wrist, dripping onto Lily's pristine white dress, but the girl's expression didn't change. Her eyes, the color of amber, were burning with a terrifying cold fire. "You touched the child," the rural girl whispered, her voice low and husky. "You lose the hand." The assassin's eyes went wide behind his mask. He tried to pull the knife back. It wouldn't move. Her grip was like a vise of iron. "What are you?" the assassin gasped. "I am Alara," she said. With a sudden, violent twist of her wrist, she snapped the steel blade in half. Snap! The assassin stumbled back, holding the broken handle. Before he could recover, Alara spun. She didn't use martial arts elegance. She used brutal, efficient, rural strength. She kicked him in the chest. The man flew backward 10 feet and crashed into the fountain, unconscious before he hit the water. The other 3 assassins hesitated. They looked at their leader floating in the water. They looked at the girl in the straw hat who was bleeding but smiling a cold, dangerous smile. "Anyone else want to try?" Alara asked, cracking her knuckles. "I haven't harvested my corn yet, so I have plenty of energy left." Dominic's bodyguards finally caught up. They tackled the remaining assassins, subduing them within seconds. Dominic didn't look at the prisoners. He holstered his gun and ran to Lily. He scooped her up, crushing her against his chest, checking her for injuries. "Lily, are you hurt? Did they touch you?" "Daddy!" Lily sobbed, burying her face in his neck. The lady saved me. She's bleeding." Dominic turned. He looked at the girl. Alara was kneeling on the ground, picking up her scattered radishes. She seemed more concerned about her vegetables than the gash in her hand. She picked up a bruised turnip and sighed. What a waste. Grandfather will be upset. These were for the market. Dominic stepped forward. He towered over her, his shadow engulfing her. "Who are you?" Alara looked up. She wiped a smudge of dirt from her cheek, leaving a streak of blood. She looked at his expensive suit, his shiny shoes, and then at his cold, handsome face. She didn't flinch. She didn't swoon like other women. She looked annoyed. "I'm Alara. I sell vegetables. And your security sucks, mister. If I were a wolf, your lamb would be dinner." Dominic blinked. No one spoke to him like that. "You caught a knife, barehanded." "It was a cheap knife." Alara shrugged, tearing a strip of cloth from her shirt to wrap her hand. "Bad steel. Probably made in a rush. If it was a real blade, I might have lost a finger." "You saved my daughter's life," Dominic said, his voice softening, the ice melting for the first time. "You are injured. You need a hospital." "I need to sell my radishes," Alara countered, standing up. "I have bills to pay. Hospitals are expensive. A little spit and some mud will fix this." "Don't be ridiculous," Dominic snapped, his commanding tone returning. "You are coming with me. I will pay for your treatment. I will pay for your radishes. I will pay for your time." "I don't take charity," Alara said, picking up her basket. "I take payment for work. I saved the kid because it was the right thing to do, not for your money." She turned to walk away. She was limping slightly. Dominic noticed a tear in her jeans, revealing a fresh bruise. She had taken a hit to protect Lily that he hadn't even seen. "Wait!" Lily cried out from Dominic's arms. "Daddy, don't let the radish lady go. She's my hero." Dominic looked at his daughter. Then he looked at Alara's retreating back. He made a decision. He needed a bodyguard, a real one, not these men in suits who were too slow. He needed someone who could catch a knife, someone who didn't care about his money. $1 million, Dominic said loudly. Alara stopped. She didn't turn around. $1 million a year, Dominic continued, walking toward her, plus room and board, plus medical, plus unlimited radishes. Alara turned around slowly. "What is the job?" "Be her nanny," Dominic said, gesturing to Lily. "Live in my house. Watch her. Protect her. The people who did this, they will come back. I need someone who can stop them." Alara looked at Lily. The little girl reached out her small hand. "Please? I'll help you pick vegetables." Alara's expression softened. She looked at her broken basket. She thought about the debt collectors coming to her grandfather's farm tomorrow. She thought about the secret she was hiding in the countryside, the reason she had learned to catch knives in the first place. "I have conditions," Alara said. "Name them," Dominic said. "I bring my own food. I don't wear a uniform. And if you yell at me like you yell at your men, I quit." Dominic smirked. It was a rare, dangerous expression. "Deal. Get in the car." As they drove away in the convoy of armored SUVs, a black sedan watched from the distance. Inside, a woman with red lips and a glass of champagne watched the scene through binoculars. It was Isabella, Dominic's fiancée, the daughter of the rival mafia family. "She caught the blade," Isabella whispered, her voice trembling with rage. "Who is she? A peasant? A farmer?" "We don't know, Miss Isabella," her driver said. "She has no digital footprint. She appeared out of nowhere." Isabella crushed the champagne glass in her hand. "Find out, and then kill her. No one enters the Vance mansion without my permission, especially not a hero." Back in the car, Dominic watched Alara. She was bandaging her hand with a professional efficiency that no farmer should possess. She noticed him staring. "What?" she asked. "You fight well for a vegetable seller," Dominic said suspiciously. "Where did you learn that?" Alara looked out the window at the passing city. Her eyes darkened. "In the village," she lied smoothly. "We have big rats. You learn to be fast." Dominic didn't believe her, but he didn't care. She was interesting, she was dangerous, and for the first time in 3 years, the king felt a strange stirring in his chest. Not fear, not anger, curiosity. "Welcome to the Vance Empire, Alara," Dominic whispered to himself. "Let's see how long you survive." The Vance estate was not a house. It was a fortress disguised as a palace. As the convoy of armored SUVs swept through the massive iron gates, Alara looked out the tinted window, her brow furrowed not in awe but in confusion. She saw acres of perfectly manicured green lawns, fountains spraying crystal clear water into the air, and hedges trimmed into geometric shapes. To anyone else, it was a display of immense wealth. To Alara, who had spent the last 3 years sweating over every inch of soil on her grandfather's failing farm, it was something else entirely. "So much waste," Alara muttered, shaking her head. Dominic, who was reviewing a digital file on his tablet about the failed assassination attempt, paused. He looked at her. She was still clutching her broken basket of radishes like it was a treasure chest filled with gold. "Excuse me?" Dominic asked, his voice cool. "This estate was designed by an award-winning landscape architect from Paris." "He must hate eating," Alara replied bluntly. "Look at that soil. It's rich, dark. You could plant 3 acres of corn there, or potatoes. That fountain? It wastes water that could irrigate a greenhouse. And those hedges, they don't produce fruit. They just stand there looking green. Rich people are weird. You starve the land just to make it look pretty." Dominic stared at her. In his 30 years of life, no one had ever criticized his lawn for not growing potatoes. It was absurd. It was ridiculous. And yet, looking at her serious, dirt-smudged face, he felt a twitch at the corner of his mouth. A smile? No, he didn't smile. Kings don't smile at peasants. "We buy our potatoes, Alara," Dominic said dryly. "We don't need to grow them." "That's why you're soft," Alara said, turning back to the window. "When the world ends, your money won't taste very good, but my radishes will." The car stopped in front of the main entrance. A line of servants stood waiting, led by Mrs. Higgins, the head housekeeper. She was a woman who looked like she had swallowed a lemon and enjoyed it. She wore a pristine uniform and a look of permanent judgment. When the door opened and Dominic stepped out, the servants bowed. "Welcome home, Master Dominic. Welcome home, little Miss Lily." Then Alara stepped out. She was a stark contrast to the marble pillars and gold trim. Her jeans were torn and muddy, her t-shirt stained with the assassin's blood and garden soil, and her straw hat was unraveling. She smelled of earth, sweat, and raw radishes. Mrs. Higgins's jaw dropped. She looked as if someone had dumped a pile of manure on her polished doorstep. "Sir," Mrs. Higgins gasped, clutching her pearls. The gardener's entrance is around the back. Why is this person coming out of your car?" "She is not a gardener," Dominic announced, his voice projecting authority that made the servants straighten up instantly. "This is Alara. She is Lily's new nanny. She will be living in the guest wing." "Nanny?" Mrs. Higgins looked like she was about to faint. "But sir, she is filthy. She will contaminate the sterile environment. Does she even have a degree in child development? Does she speak French? Can she play the cello?" She can catch a combat knife with her bare hand, Dominic said coldly, walking past her. Can you do that, Mrs. Higgins? Well, no, sir, but then get her a room, get her a bath, and get her clothes that don't smell like a vegetable market. If she is uncomfortable, you are fired. Dominic strode into the house carrying Lily. Alara followed, gripping her basket. As she passed Mrs. Higgins, she paused. Don't worry, Alara whispered to the horrified housekeeper. I don't bite unless you try to take my radishes. An hour later, Alara stood in a bathroom that was bigger than her grandfather's entire cottage. The tub was made of gold-veined marble. The soap smelled like lavender and money. She had scrubbed the dirt from her skin, watching the water turn brown and then red as the dried blood from her hand washed away. She looked at her reflection in the mirror. Without the mud, without the straw hat, she looked different. Her eyes were large and amber, framed by thick lashes. Her skin, though tanned from the sun, was flawless. There was a jagged scar running down her left shoulder, a souvenir from a life she tried to forget, but she covered it quickly with a towel. She didn't want to be here. This place was a cage, a golden cage, but still a cage. She needed to be back at the farm. The debt collectors were coming. If she didn't have the money by Friday, they would take the land. Her grandfather would die of heartbreak. $1 million, she whispered to herself. Just endure it for a year. Get the money. Save the farm, then leave. There was a knock on the door. A young maid entered, holding a pile of clothes. Miss Alara, Mr. Vance ordered these for you. He said to burn your other clothes. Alara frowned. Burn them? My jeans were perfectly fine. They had ventilation holes. Please, miss, just put this on. The dress was simple but elegant, a pale blue sundress made of silk. Alara put it on. It felt light, like wearing a cloud. She walked out of the room, feeling exposed without her tough denim armor. She found Lily in the living room. The little girl was sitting on a massive rug surrounded by expensive toys she wasn't playing with. She looked lonely. When she saw Alara, her face lit up. Radish lady, Lily cheered. You look like a princess. Alara smiled, a genuine, warm smile that transformed her face. She sat down on the rug, ignoring the shock of the maids who were dusting nearby. I'm no princess, little bean. I'm just a farmer in a fancy dress. What are you playing? I don't know. Lily sighed. These dolls are boring. They just sit there. That's because they have no soul, Alara said, picking up a porcelain doll. In the village, we make dolls out of corn husks. We give them names and backstories. This one? She looks like she ate a sour lemon. Let's call her Mrs. Higgins. Lily giggled. It was the first time she had laughed in months. Dominic stood on the balcony above, watching them. He held a glass of whiskey in his hand. He had expected Alara to be overwhelmed, to be awkward. Instead, she was sitting on a $10,000 Persian rug, making fun of his expensive toys and making his daughter laugh. He felt a strange warmth in his chest. He took a sip of whiskey to wash it away. Don't get attached, he told himself. She is an employee, a bodyguard, nothing more. But the peace was short-lived. The front door swung open with a loud bang. A gust of expensive perfume filled the air. Where is she? Where is the little gutter rat my fiancé picked up? Isabella strode into the room. She was wearing a red dress that was tight enough to cut off circulation, and her heels were sharp enough to kill. She looked like a beautiful, poisonous snake. Behind her trailed two assistants carrying piles of boxes. Isabella, Dominic said from the balcony, his voice dropping a few degrees. I didn't invite you. Isabella looked up, flashing a dazzling fake smile. Dom, darling, I heard about the attack. I was so worried. I came immediately to see Lily, and to meet the savior. Her eyes landed on Alara. Her smile vanished. She looked Alara up and down, scanning her like a predator assessing prey. This? Isabella scoffed. This is the hero? She looks like she cleans toilets for a living. Dom, really, your standards have dropped, even for the help. Alara stood up. She didn't bow. She didn't look down. She looked Isabella straight in the eye. I clean toilets sometimes, Alara said calmly. It's honest work, unlike standing around looking like a walking fire hazard. Isabella's eyes widened. Excuse me? That dress, Alara pointed. It's synthetic, highly flammable, and you're standing next to the fireplace. I'm just concerned for your safety. Lily covered her mouth to hide a giggle. Dominic smirked behind his glass. Isabella turned red. You insolent little peasant. Do you know who I am? I am the daughter of the Rossi family. I own this city. Good for you, Alara said, bored. I own a goat named Bessie. She screams a lot too. You two would get along. You! Isabella raised her hand to slap Alara. It was a reflex. Isabella was used to people cowering. She was used to getting her way, but Alara wasn't people. As Isabella's hand came down, Alara didn't block it. She didn't catch it this time. She simply stepped aside. Isabella, putting all her weight into the slap and meeting no resistance, lost her balance. She stumbled forward, her high heels twisting on the rug. She flailed, trying to grab something, and grabbed the edge of a table. The table tipped. A vase, a Ming Dynasty vase worth $50,000, slid off. Crash. Isabella fell into the pile of shattered porcelain. She shrieked as dust covered her red dress. "My dress! My hair!" Isabella screamed. Alara stood over her, looking unimpressed. "Gravity," Alara said. "It works on rich people, too. Who knew?" "You pushed me!" Isabella yelled, pointing a shaking finger at Alara. "Dom, did you see that? She pushed me?" Dominic walked down the stairs slowly. He looked at Isabella on the floor. He looked at the broken vase. He looked at Alara, who was calmly picking up Lily to keep her away from the glass shards. "I saw everything," Dominic said. "Alara didn't touch you. You tripped over your own ego, Isabella." Isabella gasped. "You're taking her side, the side of a maid." "She is not a maid," Dominic said, reaching the bottom of the stairs. He stood next to Alara. "She is the only person in this room who saved my daughter's life today. While you were busy buying shoes, she was bleeding for my family." He extended a hand to Alara. "Are you okay?" Alara looked at his hand. It was large, strong, manicured. She didn't take it. "I'm fine. But your girlfriend broke a vase. It looks expensive." "It's just a vase," Dominic said, not looking at the shattered antique. "Are you hungry? Dinner is served." Isabella scrambled up, her face twisted with humiliation and rage. She brushed the porcelain dust off her dress. She realized she couldn't win this fight with anger. She needed to be smarter. She needed to be a snake. "Oh, Dom." Isabella's voice suddenly changed. It became sweet, cloying. "You're right. I was just so emotional because I was worried about Lily. I brought a gift, actually, to make everyone feel better." She snapped her fingers. Her assistant brought forward a large, beautiful potted plant. It had vibrant purple flowers and glossy green leaves. It was stunning. "This is a rare orchid from the Amazon," Isabella said, smiling at Alara. "I thought it would liven up the nursery. Lily loves flowers, don't you, sweetie?" She moved to place the plant on the low table near Lily. "It smells like candy," Isabella cooed. "Go on, Lily. Smell it." Lily leaned forward, intrigued by the bright purple petals. "No!" Alara moved. She didn't just shout, she lunged. She grabbed the heavy pot from Isabella's hands and threw it. She threw it hard. The pot sailed across the room and smashed into the fireplace. The soil scattered into the flames. "What are you doing?" Isabella screamed. "That plant cost $5,000. "Are you crazy?" Dominic barked, stepping forward. "Alara, that was a gift." Alara didn't apologize. She grabbed Lily and pulled her back, shielding the child with her body. Her eyes were blazing with a terrifying intensity. She pointed at the burning remains of the plant in the fireplace. "Don't breathe the smoke," Alara ordered, covering Lily's nose and mouth with her hand. "Open the windows, now." "Why?" Dominic demanded, though he signaled the servants to obey. "That wasn't an orchid," Alara hissed, glaring at Isabella. "That was Aconitum napellus, wolfsbane, specifically a hybrid breed used in the mountains to kill wolves." "Wolfsbane," Dominic repeated, his blood running cold. "The pollen is toxic," Alara explained rapidly. "If a child inhales it, their throat closes up in minutes. If she had touched the petals and then put her fingers in her mouth, she would be dead by dessert." The room went deadly silent. Everyone looked at the fireplace where the purple flowers were shriveling in the heat. Dominic turned slowly to Isabella. His face was a mask of death. "Isabella," Dominic said, his voice so low it was almost a vibration. "Did you bring a poisonous plant into my house, to my daughter?" Isabella went pale. I didn't know. The florist said it was exotic. I thought it was pretty." "Dom, you can't believe her. She's a lying peasant." "How would she know Latin names of plants?" "Because I grow them," Alara said coldly. "I know everything that grows in the earth. The ones that heal and the ones that kill. And that one? That one is a murderer." Dominic looked at Isabella. He saw the flicker of panic in her eyes. He knew. In his world, there were no accidents. "Get out," Dominic said. "Dom, please." "Get out!" Dominic roared. The sound shook the windows. "If I see you near my daughter again, I won't just break your engagement. I will break your family." Isabella stumbled back, terrified by the raw violence in his eyes. She grabbed her bag. She looked at Alara with pure, unadulterated hatred. "This isn't over," Isabella hissed at Alara. "You think you're smart. You think you've won. You're just a bug, and bugs get crushed." She ran out of the mansion. The silence that followed was heavy. The maids were trembling. Dominic walked over to the fireplace. He looked at the burning plant. He turned to Alara. She was still holding Lily, checking the girl's breathing, gently feeling her neck for any swelling. "Is she okay?" Dominic asked. "She's fine," Alara said, her voice shaking slightly now that the adrenaline was fading. "I stopped her in time." Dominic looked at Alara. He saw the fierce protectiveness in her posture. He saw the knowledge in her eyes. She wasn't just a girl who caught a knife. She was a shield. "Thank you," Dominic said, again. "Don't thank me," Alara said, standing up and dusting off her dress. "Just check your guests better. Your fiancé is trying to kill your kid. That's bad parenting." Dominic flinched. "She is not my fiancé, not anymore." "Good," Alara said. "Now I'm hungry. And if dinner is fancy tiny portions, I'm going to the kitchen to make a sandwich." Dominic watched her walk away holding Lily's hand. A sandwich. She just saved his daughter from poisoning and she wanted a sandwich. He felt a laugh bubbling up in his chest. He hadn't laughed in years. This girl, she was going to be the death of him, or his salvation. Later that night, Alara sat in her room. The luxury was suffocating. She opened the window to let in the fresh air. She missed the smell of manure and rain. She missed the sound of crickets. She pulled a small, old Nokia phone from under the mattress, the one thing she hadn't let the maids take. She dialed a number. "Grandpa?" she whispered. "Alara?" The old man's voice crackled on the line. "Where are you? The men! They came back. They said if we don't pay by Friday—" "I know, Grandpa. I know." Alara gripped the phone tight. "I have a job. A high-paying one. I'll get the money. Just lock the doors. Don't go outside. Stay safe." "Alara, come home. It's dangerous out there. You promised you wouldn't use those skills again. You promised you would just be a farmer." "I have no choice," Alara said, tears stinging her eyes. "I have to protect you." She hung up. She looked at her bandaged hand. She had lied to Dominic. She didn't learn to fight because of big rats. She learned because her grandfather wasn't just a farmer. He was the retired weapon master of the legendary Dragon Syndicate, and she was his only student. She thought she had escaped that life. But now, in the house of the Vance Empire, surrounded by assassins and poison, she realized she hadn't escaped anything. She had just walked onto a bigger battlefield. Suddenly, a shadow moved in the hallway. Alara froze. She sensed it before she saw it. Someone was outside her door. She moved silently to the wall. She waited. The door handle turned slowly. It wasn't Dominic. Dominic knocked. This was a thief's turn. The door opened. A figure slipped in. It was small, quick. Alara lunged. She pinned the figure to the wall, her arm against their throat. "Who sent you?" she hissed. "Ak, let go. It's me, Lily." Alara dropped her arm. She flipped on the light. Lily was standing there in her pajamas holding a teddy bear. She looked terrified, but also determined. "Lily, what are you doing?" Alara asked, her heart racing. I had a nightmare," Lily whispered, "about the bad men. Can I sleep with you, Radish Lady? Daddy is scary when he's angry, but you are safe." Alara looked at the little girl. She looked at the trust in her eyes. She sighed. She wasn't just a bodyguard anymore. She was family. "Okay," Alara said, lifting Lily onto the massive bed. "But you have to promise me one thing." "What?" "If anyone asks, we are discussing tactical vegetable farming." Lily giggled. Alara lay down next to her. She looked at the ceiling. She had saved the girl twice in one day, but she knew the real danger wasn't Isabella. It wasn't the assassins in the park. The real danger was Dominic Vance. Because every time he looked at her with those cold, broken eyes, she felt her defenses crumbling. And falling for the king was the one thing her grandfather had warned her never to do. The morning sun filtered through the high windows of the guest wing, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air. Alara woke up the way she always did, instantly. 1 second she was asleep, the next her eyes were open, her hand reaching for the knife she kept under her pillow, a habit from living on the farm where wild coyotes and debt collectors were a constant threat. But her hand met only soft Egyptian cotton. She blinked, remembering where she was. The Vance mansion, the golden cage. She looked to her side. Lily was still asleep, curled up like a small kitten, clutching Alara's sleeve. The little girl's breathing was soft and rhythmic. For the first time in her life, Alara felt a strange weight in her chest. It wasn't the weight of responsibility or survival. It was the weight of tenderness. She carefully extricated her arm, tucking the duvet around Lily's shoulders. Alara slipped out of bed and walked to the window. Below, in the perfectly manicured garden, she saw Dominic. He was sitting at a patio table, reading a newspaper, a cup of coffee steaming in the morning chill. He looked like a statue carved from marble, perfect, cold, and immovable. But then he looked up, straight at her window, their eyes locked across the distance. Dominic didn't wave. He didn't smile. He just held her gaze with an intensity that made Alara's skin prickle. He raised his coffee cup in a silent salute. Alara felt a flush rise to her cheeks. She quickly pulled the curtain shut. "Damn him," she whispered, touching her chest where her heart was beating traitorously fast. "He's just a job, just a paycheck." But she knew she was lying. Breakfast was a battlefield of cutlery. Alara sat at the long dining table, staring at the 5 different forks arranged next to her plate. "Use the small one for the fruit," Dominic said without looking up from his tablet. "The medium one for the eggs. The large one is for the main course." "In the village, we use a spoon," Alara muttered, grabbing a piece of toast with her hand. "It scoops, it cuts, it's efficient. This is just laundry for the dishwasher." "It's etiquette," Dominic corrected. "Tonight, you will need it." Alara stopped chewing. "Tonight?" "The Grand Sapphire Charity Gala," Dominic said, finally looking at her. "It is the biggest event of the year. All the elite families will be there. The Rossies, the Changs, and of course, the Vances." "Have fun," Alara said, taking a bite of her toast. "I'll stay here and guard Lily. We're going to build a fort out of sofa cushions." "Lily is coming with us," Dominic said calmly. "And so are you." "Me?" Alara choked on her toast. "I don't do galas. I don't do dresses. And I definitely don't do small talk with people who think a banana costs $10. "You are my bodyguard," Dominic said, leaning forward. "My enemies know my face. They know my security team. They don't know you. You are my secret weapon. Besides," his eyes darkened, "Isabella will be there. She is the host." Alara's demeanor changed instantly. The playfulness vanished. Her amber eyes hardened into stones. "The poison lady?" "She will try something," Dominic said. "She always does. I need you there to stop her, and I need a date." "A date?" Alara raised an eyebrow. "Hire a model. You have the money." "I don't want a model," Dominic said, his voice dropping to a velvet whisper. "I want the woman who threw a Ming vase at my ex-fiancé. I want you." The air in the room grew heavy. Alara felt trapped in his gaze. He wasn't commanding her, he was inviting her, and that was infinitely more dangerous. "I have nothing to wear," she said weakly, trying to find an excuse. Dominic snapped his fingers. The double doors opened. A team of 5 stylists marched in, rolling racks of designer gowns that cost more than Alara's entire farm. "Problem solved," Dominic smirked. 5 hours later, Alara stood in front of a full-length mirror. She didn't recognize herself. The stylists had worked a miracle. They had taken the rough, sun-kissed farmer and polished her into a diamond. She was wearing a gown of deep emerald green velvet, the color of the forest after rain. It was strapless, hugging her athletic curves with a slit up the leg that allowed for movement. Alara had insisted on that in case she needed to kick someone. Her messy braid was gone, replaced by loose, cascading waves of chestnut hair. Her face was lightly made up, enhancing her fierce amber eyes. She looked regal. She looked dangerous. "Wow," a small voice whispered. Lily stood in the doorway wearing a matching green dress with a white ribbon. "Radish lady, you look like the queen of the forest." Alara knelt down, carefully in the heels. "And you look like a forest fairy, little bean. Are you ready to go into the lion's den?" "I'm not scared," Lily said, puffed out her chest, "because you are with me." They walked downstairs. Dominic was waiting in the foyer. He was adjusting his cufflinks. When he heard them, he turned around. He froze. He had seen beautiful women. He had dated supermodels, actresses, heiresses, but he had never seen anyone like Alara. She didn't just wear the dress. She commanded it. She radiated a raw, vital energy that made the crystal chandeliers look dim. "Well?" Alara asked, shifting uncomfortably. "Do I look like a civilized person or just a potato wrapped in silk?" Dominic walked over to her. He stopped inches away. He reached out and tucked a stray lock of hair behind her ear. His fingers lingered on her jawline. "You look," Dominic whispered, his voice rough, "like trouble, my favorite kind." He offered her his arm. "Shall we go, Miss Alara? The wolves are waiting." Alara took his arm. His muscles were hard beneath the expensive suit fabric. "Let's go, but if anyone spills wine on me, I'm throwing them into the buffet." The grand sapphire gala was held in a glass-domed ballroom suspended over the city skyline. It was a display of excess that made Alara nauseous. Champagne flowed like water. Diamonds glittered on every neck. The air smelled of expensive perfume and hidden agendas. When Dominic entered with Alara on his arm and Lily holding his hand, the room went silent. The whispers started immediately. "Who is she? Is that the nanny? She looks exotic. I heard she's a countess from Europe." Alara kept her head high, her eyes scanning the room. She wasn't looking at the jewelry, she was looking at the exits. She was checking the waiter's hands, she was calculating threats. "Relax," Dominic murmured. "Smile. You are supposed to be my girlfriend tonight." "I am smiling," Alara gritted out through clenched teeth. "This is my I won't break your arm smile." "Dom!" A shrill voice cut through the whispers. Isabella approached. She looked stunning in a silver gown, but her eyes were venomous. She was surrounded by a sycophantic group of socialites. "I didn't think you'd show your face," Isabella sneered, looking at Dominic. Then she turned to Alara. "And you brought the help? How quaint. Did you run out of dog food at the kennel?" The socialites giggled. Alara looked at Isabella. She didn't get angry. She just looked bored. "Isabella," Alara said calmly, "you have spinach in your teeth." Isabella gasped, her hands flying to her mouth. The socialites stopped laughing. "You liar," Isabella hissed, checking her reflection in a spoon. "I don't eat spinach." "Maybe it's the poison coming back up." Alara shrugged. "Karma has a funny taste." Dominic chuckled. Isabella turned purple. "You think you're so smart," Isabella spat, "but you don't belong here. This is a charity auction for rare artifacts. What do you know about culture? About history? You probably think Baroque is what happens when you have no money." "Actually," Alara said, eyeing the display cases in the center of the room, "I know a lot about value. For example, that Ming vase you broke yesterday, it was a reproduction. A good one, but the glaze was off. You owe Dominic about $200, not $50,000. Isabella's eyes bulged. "How dare you?" "Ladies and gentlemen," the auctioneer announced from the stage, "please take your seats. The bidding is about to begin." They moved to their tables. Dominic sat at the front with Alara and Lily. Isabella sat at the next table, glaring daggers. The auction began. Paintings, sculptures, jewelry. Millions of dollars were thrown around like confetti. Alara watched, disgusted by the waste. "And now," the auctioneer boomed, "our headline item. A rare 500-year-old blood ginseng root discovered in the remote mountains of Tibet. It is said to have miraculous healing properties. Starting bid, $1 million. A glass case was wheeled out. Inside sat a gnarled, reddish root. The room gasped. $1 million! Isabella shouted immediately. She turned to Dominic with a smirk. "I'm going to buy it, and then I'm going to crush it under my heel." $2 million, Dominic said calmly. $3 million, Isabella screamed. $5 million, Dominic countered. Alara grabbed Dominic's hand. "Stop." "What?" Dominic looked at her. "It's rare. I want to give it to your grandfather. You said he was sick." "It's fake," Alara whispered. "What?" "It's not blood ginseng," Alara said, her eyes locked on the root. "It's red parsnip, soaked in dye and dried in an oven. It's worth about 50 cents. "Are you sure?" "I grew up in the mountains, Dominic. I know every root, every herb, that thing. If you eat it, you won't get immortal. You'll just get diarrhea." Dominic looked at her. He trusted her. He put his paddle down. $5 million going once, going twice. The auctioneer looked at Dominic, expecting a counterbid. Dominic smiled and crossed his arms. "Sold. To Miss Isabella for $3 million. Wait, no, she bid 3. Oh, I apologize. The last bid was $5 million from Mr. Vance." "I withdraw my bid," Dominic announced loudly. "My date informs me the item is counterfeit." The room erupted. Isabella stood up. "Counterfeit? How dare you? This peasant knows nothing. She's trying to sabotage me." "Prove it." Alara stood up. She walked to the stage. The security guards tried to stop her, but Dominic waved them off. "Then this ends tonight," Dominic said. His voice was no longer the voice of a CEO, it was the voice of an executioner. I'm not just saving Lily, I'm avenging my parents. We need a plan, Elara said. We can't just walk into the docks. Wu will have an army. We give him the chip, Dominic said. What? Elara and Jin shouted together. We give him the chip, Dominic repeated, walking to the table. He picked up the tiny piece of plastic, but not this one. He threw the chip to Elara. She caught it. I own a tech company, Dominic said, a cold smirk playing on his lips. I can fabricate a duplicate chip in 1 hour. It will look identical. But when they try to decrypt it, it will upload a virus into their mainframe, a virus that drains their accounts, exposes their location to Interpol, and locks their weapon systems. A Trojan horse, Elara smiled. I like it. But Wu is not stupid. Jin warned. He will check it. That's why we need a distraction, Dominic said. He looked at Elara. We need to put on a show so convincing he forgets to check the code. The docks, midnight, the rain had stopped, leaving a heavy mist hanging over the shipping containers. The smell of salt and dead fish was overwhelming. Under the harsh glare of floodlights, a massive cargo ship sat docked. The name on the hull was the Red Empress. Dominic walked down the pier. He was alone. He wore a long black trench coat. His hands were empty, held out to the sides to show he was unarmed. 50 yards away, standing on a stack of containers, was Master Wu. He held a megaphone. Behind him, dangling from a crane by a rope tied around her waist, was Lily. She was gagged, her eyes wide with terror, swinging precariously over the dark, churning water. Daddy! Lily's muffled cry tore through Dominic's heart. I'm here, Princess, Dominic shouted back. Don't look down. Look at me. Mr. Vance, Wu's voice boomed. You are punctual. Where is the girl? Where is the scroll? She's scared, Dominic yelled. She sent me instead. I have the chip. He held up a small plastic bag containing the fake chip. Wu laughed. You think I trust a businessman? Bring the girl out, or I drop the child. He signaled to the crane operator. The rope lowered. Lily screamed as her feet dipped into the freezing water. Wait! Elara stepped out from behind a container. She was wearing her fighting gear, black tactical pants, boots, and a sleeveless shirt that showed off her toned arms. She held a sword, her grandfather's katana. I'm here, Wu, Elara shouted. Let the girl go. This is between us. Ah, the traitor's granddaughter, Wu sneered. Come closer. Bring the chip. Elara walked forward. She met Dominic in the middle of the pier. They exchanged a look. No words were needed. Ready? Ready. Elara took the chip from Dominic. She walked toward the stack of containers. Throw it up, Wu commanded. Elara threw the bag. It arced through the air. Wu caught it. He pulled out a handheld scanner. Dominic held his breath. If the virus didn't load fast enough, Wu scanned it. The device beeped green. Verified. Excellent, Wu smiled. Kill them. He didn't release Lily. He gave the order to fire. Now! Dominic screamed. He didn't run for cover. He pressed a button on his watch. Boom! The shipping containers on either side of the pier, containers Dominic's company owned, exploded. Not with fire, but with smoke. Thick, white, tactical smoke filled the entire dock in seconds. What is this? Wu coughed, blinded. Plan B. Elara's voice came from the smoke. She was already moving. She scaled the side of the container stack like a spider. She reached the top. Wu's guards opened fire blindly into the smoke, but Elara was too fast. She sliced through the first guard's rifle with her katana, then kicked him off the edge. Dominic wasn't idle. He sprinted toward the crane. He couldn't climb as fast as Elara, but he had tech. He fired a grappling hook gun, a prototype from his R&D department, up to the crane cabin. It latched on. The winch pulled him up rapidly. He smashed through the glass of the operator's cabin. The operator reached for a pistol, but Dominic punched him. A solid, rage-fueled right hook that knocked the man out cold. Dominic grabbed the controls. He hauled the lever back. Lily was lifted out of the water, swinging wildly into the air away from the pier. I got you, baby, Dominic shouted into the radio. On top of the containers, Elara faced Master Wu. Wu pocketed the chip and drew 2 curved daggers. You are fast, girl, but I taught your grandfather everything he knows. He taught me things you forgot, Elara said, settling into a stance. Like honor. They clashed. Steel sparked against steel. Wu was fast, unnaturally so for an old man. He moved like a shadow, his dagger slicing the air inches from Elara's throat. She parried, dodged, and countered, but he was pushing her back toward the edge. "You cannot win!" Wu hissed, slashing her arm. "The syndicate is eternal. Your firewall isn't." Elara gritted her teeth, ignoring the pain. Suddenly, Wu's phone buzzed. Then the phones of every mercenary on the dock buzzed. Then the ship's alarm started blaring. Wu glanced at his scanner. The screen had turned red. A skull and crossbones appeared. System purge, 100%. Accounts drained. Location broadcasting to CIA, Interpol, FBI. "What have you done?" Wu screamed, distracted. "Goodbye, little flower." Thwack! A shovel hit the widow in the back of the head. It rang like a gong. The widow stumbled forward. Behind her stood Grandpa Jin. He looked ancient, tired, but furious. "You talk too much," Jin grunted. The widow spun around, eyes blazing green. "Old man, you should be dead." "I am hard to kill," Jin said. He didn't have a weapon. He stood in a martial arts stance, empty-handed. "Grandpa, run! She's a cyborg!" Elara screamed. "She is just a machine with daddy issues," Jin said calmly. "Dominic, the magnet." Dominic looked around. Magnet? What magnet? Then he saw it. The massive industrial electromagnet crane they had used to move the sculptures during the renovation. It was parked near the garage. "On it!" Dominic sprinted for the crane. The widow attacked Jin. It was a blur of motion. Jin couldn't block the plasma sword, so he dodged. He moved like water, flowing around her rigid, mechanical strikes. He slapped her joints, targeting the weak points in her armor, but she was tireless. She landed a punch on Jin's chest. The old man flew backward, crashing into the chicken coop. He didn't get up. "Grandpa!" Elara screamed. Rage, pure and white-hot, flooded her veins. She grabbed the fallen hoe handle. It wasn't a sword, it was a stick. But in the hands of a master, anything is a weapon. She charged. She didn't attack the widow's armor. She attacked the ground. She swept the dirt into the widow's human eye. "Oh!" The widow flinched, her organic side blinded. Elara vaulted over her. She landed on the widow's back. She jammed the wooden stick into the exposed gears of the widow's neck joint. The gears ground against the wood. Sparks flew. The widow thrashed, trying to throw her off. "Dominic! Now!" Elara screamed, holding on for dear life as the cyborg spun around. The crane roared to life. The massive magnetic disc swung over them. "Let go, Elara!" Dominic shouted from the cab. "Not yet!" Elara twisted the stick deeper. The widow's plasma sword deactivated as her power core fluctuated. "Get off me, parasite!" The widow reached back with a metal claw, gripping Alara's arm, crushing it. Elara cried out in pain, but didn't let go. "Dominic, turn it on." Dominic slammed the button. The electromagnet activated with enough force to lift a tank. The widow screamed as her metal body was yanked upward. Her feet left the ground. She was magnetized. "Let go!" Dominic yelled again. Elara released her grip. She fell to the soft earth. The widow flew up, slamming into the magnetic disc with a deafening clang. She was stuck, pinned by her own upgrades. She thrashed, her servos whining, but she couldn't break the magnetic field. "I will kill you. I will download my consciousness and hunt you forever," the widow shrieked, dangling 20 feet in the air. "No Wi-Fi in prison," Dominic muttered. He swung the crane arm. He moved it over the swimming pool. "Elara, is she waterproof?" Dominic called out. Elara stood up, holding her bruised arm. She looked at the cyborg witch. "Let's find out." Elara smirked. Dominic cut the power. The widow fell. Splash. She hit the deep end. She sank like a stone. The water bubbled furiously, then turned dark as her system shorted out. Sparks illuminated the pool from below like a dying fireworks show. Silence returned to the estate. Elara ran to the chicken coop. "Grandpa!" Jin sat up, brushing feathers off his shoulder. He spat out a tooth. "I hate robots," he grumbled. "No respect for tradition." "You're okay." Elara hugged him, sobbing. Dominic jumped down from the crane. He ran to them. He checked Elara, then Jin. "We need a new pool," Dominic said, looking at the electrified water, "and a new gate, and probably a new lawn." "I can fix the lawn," Elara laughed through her tears. "I have seeds." Lily ran out from her hiding spot. She looked at the pool. "Did we win?" "We won, baby." Dominic picked her up. "We won." 1 year later, the wedding finally happened. But it wasn't in a ballroom, it wasn't in a cathedral, it was in the middle of the most beautiful, chaotic vegetable garden in the world. Elira wore a white dress, but she was barefoot, standing on the rich soil. Dominic wore a tuxedo, but he had a radish flower pinned to his lapel instead of a rose. Grandpa Jin, now the official head of security and head gardener, walked Elira down the aisle formed by rows of corn. Lily, the flower girl, threw petals and occasionally fed a piece of corn to the chickens wandering the aisle. Do you, Dominic Vance, take this woman to be your wife, to love, to honor, and to protect from ninjas? The priest asked, looking a bit confused by the script. I do, Dominic said, looking at Elira with eyes full of worship. And do you, Elira, take this man, to love, to cherish, and to teach how to grow potatoes? I do, Elira smiled. You may kiss the bride. Dominic kissed her. The guests cheered, a mix of high society billionaires and rough-looking farmers from Elira's village. As they pulled apart, Dominic whispered, I have a gift for you. Another tractor? Elira asked. Better. He pointed to the sky. A drone flew over them. It dropped a banner. Vance and Elira, Global Security and Organic Farming Corp. I rebranded. Dominic grinned. We're partners in everything. I handle the tech, you handle the threats, and we both handle the vegetables. Elira laughed. You made me a CEO, co-CEO, and Dominic placed a hand on her stomach. Mother of two. Elira froze. She looked at him. She hadn't told him yet. She had found out that morning. How did you know? Dominic tapped his temple. I'm the king of surveillance, remember? And you stopped eating raw onions last week. Dead giveaway. Elira punched him lightly in the arm. Spy. Protector, he corrected. He picked her up, spinning her around in the middle of the garden. The sun set over their empire, a strange, beautiful mix of high-tech security and wild nature. They had defeated the mafia, the syndicate, and the widow. They had bridged two worlds. And as Lily chased the chickens and Grandpa Jin argued with the caterer about the knife skills, Dominic and Elira knew one thing for sure. Life was never going to be boring, and the radishes, they were going to be delicious.